All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. Today is Game 2 day. The Toronto Raptors, they're in Philadelphia still for Game 2 of the NBA playoffs in like 6 or so hours. I will be live for that game if you want to come tune in. But, man, Game 1 was definitely unfortunate. It was definitely unfortunate, 111 to 131. And I just kind of started to notice, like, when you really dive into, like, the team stats, it's not even really evident that Philadelphia was the better team. And so one thing I kept mentioning in my live stream, one of the things I mentioned in my Game 1 recap was as bad of a third quarter as Toronto had defensively, as bad as a fourth quarter as Toronto had, they only got outscored by Philly by 2 points. Only 2 points. So this series is far from over. Now, here's what sucks, dude. And this is what absolutely sucks. But before we get into that, actually, if you guys enjoy this video, hit the like button, hit that sub button. Try and get 100 likes on this video. Cover the entire NBA, make a lot of raps videos. And, yeah, that's really it. Trying to hit, I think I just hit 12,000 subs somehow. But I'm trying to hit 15,000 subs by the end of the playoffs, which would absolutely blow my mind. But essentially what really blows, and I'm sure a lot of Raptor fans know this, is you have no Scotty Barnes most likely tonight until at least 420 is what they're saying, and Thaddeus Young is doubtful with his thumb injury, and then Gary Trent Jr. is doubtful with an illness. So if I'm a Philadelphia 76er fan right now, I'm licking my chops, because if we go back, we look at Game 1 stats, I mean, these guys did not even play well. Like, I'm going to be real with you guys, like, their superstars did not play well. And I keep having my buddies be like, dude, Toronto's going to win this series because of the superstar power. I'm like, superstars are kind of what drive, the NBA. But I don't think just because Toronto doesn't necessarily have like a clear superstar, I don't think that means that they're out of the series just because Philadelphia does. So let's look at the two superstars from Philadelphia, because I feel like they didn't play that well. A lot of people are saying James Harden controlled the basketball game. I think I don't really feel the same way. I really don't. In fact, James Harden, the only parts of James Harden that really kind of got me going was his step back three-pointers. It felt like Toronto was like super close to defending those, but I am a little biased with James Harden. I'm very, very tough on him, very, not like judgmental, but like I'm rooting for him. I don't know what to believe. I really just don't know what to believe. So James Harden shot 6 of 17, was saved by his three-ball shot, 4 of 7, 22 points, 14 assists. He did a phenomenal job passing, absolutely phenomenal job. Then Joel Embiid only went 5 of 15, but his physicality in the game, like it was, he had finished 19 points, 15 rebounds. It's not like he was a complete bum. Really, for Philadelphia, if you're a Philadelphia fan, here's your keys to the game. Here's your keys to the series. Joel Embiid, James Harden both get their bag. Like, we're talking 40 combined points per game at least. Well, that's when you have guys like Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. Those are the two X factors in this series. Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey. Those guys are huge. I mean, Tobias Harris is a superstar. In the playoffs, he's like a superstar third option. Superstar third option, because he always comes ready to play, man. Guy drops like 20 points every freaking time he's in the playoffs on good shooting. That's exactly how he got it going in Game 1. 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 9 of 14, 5 assists, 3 of 5 from downtown. You knew this going into it. Like, if you're a Raptors fan, if you're an NBA player, or if you're an NBA fan, you know Philly's talented. Like, we all know Philly's talented. This is going to be a scrappy blood battle. And the way Game 1 looked is it looks like it's going to get a little rowdy. I've seen some predictions saying there's going to be a fight. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. It's getting rowdy out there. And especially with the injury to Scotty Barnes, injury to Thaddeus Young, they're already shorthanded. They're already pissed off. I wouldn't be surprised if things get rowdy. But Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, man, if you're getting 38 from Tyrese Maxey, you're winning the basketball game. And if you get 26 from Tobias Harris, you're winning the basketball game. Unless Joel Embiid and James Harden completely shit the bed and they score like a combined 10 points, which is just not going to happen because of how often they're able to get to the free throw line. Embiid only took 11 free throws. Harden only took 7 free throws, but it felt like they were on the free throw line all game. You got to try and get into that bench, because the bench is really where you kind of start to see, a big fall off for Philadelphia. For Toronto, man, it really sucks just not having Scotty Barnes. I'm interested to see what the starting lineup looks like tonight. I would imagine they'll probably throw in, my guess is Precious Achiuwa into the starting lineup at the 5 spot. Then you got Siakam at the 4, OG at the 3, Gary at the 2. I think Gary's going to play. I know a lot of these dudes are classified as doubtful, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Nurse was just, kind of playing it safe with them, or like just in case something happens. But Gary, if he suited up for yesterday's game, 2 days ago's game, Saturday's game, there's no way he doesn't play tonight. I just highly doubt that, unless it's an illness where it's like life or death's at stake. Gary Trent Jr. is playing in the game. He's going to play in every game he can because it's the playoffs. The 2 of 11, that's something you can't have from Gary Trent. Freddie, I thought Freddie did a phenomenal job. 7 to 12 is cool. I want to see that number honestly be like 15 or something. He didn't really get going until the third quarter. Had some nice shots in the fourth quarter, but I feel like for the first half of the game, he was pretty quiet. He wasn't really attacking. Same thing goes for Siakam. Siakam finished with a good game. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, 9 to 18 from the field. But I feel like same thing with Freddie. It took him a while to get going. It took a lot of these players until, honestly, like the third quarter to get going. Scotty Barnes at halftime was the Raptors' best player. And as high as I am on Scotty Barnes, if Scotty Barnes is your best player at halftime, you're a freaking rookie. Not good. That is not good at all. So, today, if I'm a Raptor, if I'm a Toronto Raptor, I'm eyeing a couple players. I need good games from Fred. I need good games from Pascal. But I'm looking at guys like OG, and I'm looking at guys like Precious Achiuwa. Gary, I'd throw Gary in there, but I don't know how useful he's going to be. So those 2.5 players, we'll call it. Offensively, it's going to be a big night for him. I think both of those 2 players I just mentioned, OG, I'm hoping he goes for 20. Threw a 20-piece the other night. It was a super low-key 20-piece. And then Precious Achiuwa shot only 3 and 9, but he did make 2 threes, finished with 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Played 30 minutes. I guarantee you he gets a ton of run tonight because he's very athletic, he's very versatile, and when you're trying to stop Joel Embiid, having a guy like Precious out there definitely helps. Defensively is where things are going to, I want to see some adjustments with it. What I saw a lot with Toronto is basically you're kind of just, if Philly throws the ball down to Embiid gets all this, and I talked about it, so I won't talk about it too much in this video, but the defense collapses. The defense begins to start to trap Joel Embiid. They start to double Joel Embiid. And the issue is you have a bunch of skilled passers on Philadelphia, let alone Joel Embiid and James Harden. Those are 2 phenomenal passers at their positions. They're going to find the open man. More often than not, we didn't really see until the fourth quarter, the third and fourth quarter, Toronto had forced 0 Philadelphia turnovers at halftime. That was another red flag. They're going to find their shooters. And what would end up happening is Toronto goes for the closeout, and they're so behind that they just jump. They just jump. Philly started to just drain their threes, and, it was looking like, he almost blocked Harden. Precious almost blocked Harden. He almost got back in time. And then quickly, as the game went on, it soon became just, all right, Toronto's jumping every time, we're going to pump fake every time. So Philly just started to pump fake, Toronto started to jump, and just like that's a 5-on-4 opportunity, and you have a guy like James Harden cutting to the basket or wide open, you have a guy like Joel Embiid down a man, and it was just kind of a nightmare. Now, if I'm Philadelphia tonight, Philly's tough because I'm not a Philly. I lean more towards the Raptors. I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can in these videos so I can get more Philadelphia 76ers fans. Because they're a fun team, man. They're a fun, interesting team. But I would still, once again, I'll not focus necessarily, but Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, those are going to be your 2 guys that, if they're going to give you 40 combined, I have a hard time picturing Philadelphia has a difficulties winning. If they're going to give you 20 on, they're going to give you 20 each. Joel's going to give you 20, and Hardy's going to give you 20. That's 80 right there. So Toronto better be ready to score tonight, man. Better be ready to score. Better be ready to defend. Want to see a different energy out there. I want to see a different energy out there. I feel like I saw some tweets. I can't remember how it went, but like it was something like Toronto. It's not like Philadelphia forced Toronto to play like a different team, but it was like Toronto just came out as a different team. Like they just were never really the Toronto Raptors. So I fully anticipate it. I fully anticipate the Toronto Raptors to win this game. And I'll even go as far to say this, if you're a Raptors fan watching this video, or even if you're a Philadelphia fan watching this video, getting a little ahead of yourself, if they win tonight, a couple years ago when the Raptors won it all, you're down 2-1 against Philadelphia, and you had you had an injured Siakam going into Game 4, and you ended up winning the championship that year. So it's okay. But got to try and find a way to neutralize the Philly fans. And you have to, man, the calls, we're going to see the calls tonight, but you have to make the right adjustments tonight. You gotta just make the right adjustments, whether it's at halftime, whether it's going into the fourth, whatever it is. If Philadelphia is doing something that you're just getting burned at, like they did last game, all the last game, you got to make some adjustments. So hit the like button, hit that sub button. Let me know down below who's winning game number 2. And yeah, let's try and hit 100 likes, and I'll see you guys all later.